It's
Woohoo!
a lovely day to see all of y'all. See, I have control over this screen now.
Yes, you do.
All right. Well, first off, thank you everyone for being here today. We've had this conference 2 times in the past. See, is the photo coming up? There you go. We've had this conference twice in the past, and they've been in person. First time was at UC Riverside, and then we did at UCSD. And for our third conference today, um, it's important for us to meet, but it's also important for us to be safe. So that's why we're meeting over Zoom. But it's important for us to be here today because there's a lot that we're going to talk about. We'll talk a lot about, what our vision is moving forward, how we're going to adapt to a lot of our policies to COVID. What are the things that we're going to do to make sure that this mission can stay alive? But before I begin my opening statement, there are definitely two things I want to acknowledge. The first one is, this has been an incredibly hard year for a lot of us. I think what makes a lot of things difficult is that you don't know how everyone is doing unless you reach out. But I personally know a lot of people that are going through a really hard time. So if you're someone in this project or in this call that, has had a lot of adverse experiences because of this pandemic, my heart goes out to you, and people in this call go out to you. And the second thing is, if you're someone who is like me and is disheartened by a lot of what's been going on and how we're seeing a lot of our institutions being exposed and susceptible to discrimination on the basis of race, sex, or gender, or any kind of circumstance, I stand with you. And especially as it relates to the Black Lives Matter movement, I just want to say that this project stands with you. It's very important for any movement that fights for racial justice, as us as advocates are able to stand firmly with it, especially as it comes to the topic of race. Homelessness and race are two things that are closely interconnected, and I'm sure more people will talk about this ongoing. But I recently looked at some data and found that the latest numbers are that 40% of the entire homeless population is actually represented by Black individuals. And something I didn't know before was that 52% of all families experiencing homelessness are actually Black families, despite Black individuals making 13% of the entire population. So as a project, it's important for us to not only be educated about these topics, but to take action in any way that we can. This will make us stronger advocates and a stronger project in general as we're trying to support folks experiencing homelessness. The theme of this conference is Rise Up. And as it should, I've been spending some time thinking about why is it that I rise up? I've been doing this project for about 5 years, and I can think of a lot of memories that have pushed me so hard to be passionate about homeless services and Mustard Seed Project and all of it. But I think some of my best memories are when I was teaching Taekwondo at a family shelter. I did this my sophomore year. I don't always share this video, but I'll share it with y'all today. Excuse my voice.
하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟, 아홉, 열.
And I did that when I was 19. I remember every single time I stepped into the shelter, my first thoughts were always, kids should not have to grow up here. And I remember, even though I was there, I tried my best to be positive, but I definitely remember going home just, thinking that, I wish there was something more that I could do. I remember during one class, there was this student that I pulled aside because he looked like he was having a rough day. And I asked him, hey, what's going on today? Is everything okay? And, in the studio, we tried our best to make it like a martial arts type vibe. So he'd call me Master Martin. He said, Master Martin, honestly, my 7-year-old brother keeps telling our friends that we're homeless because he doesn't really realize that this is a shelter. So all my friends are asking me, are we homeless? And I don't know how to answer that. In this shelter, I saw a lot of kids who, some of them didn't understand what's going on because their parents would try to tell them, try their best to, make the situation seem light. But there's definitely a lot of kids who grew up experiencing homelessness when in this country, no kid should have to experience that. I remember one mother who came up to me, just another story to share. I remember one mother who came up to me and she told me how they first became homeless. I didn't realize this, but there's a lot of families who live paycheck to paycheck, and literally it's just one accident away from becoming homeless. And I remember this mother told me it was a car accident. It was just one car accident that she couldn't afford, couldn't pay rent, and then she ended up on the streets and was in a shelter. And when I think about my experience in the shelter, I think what's important was I started to understand homelessness not just from like individual hardships, but as a system, understanding that there's a lot of people in this country that just can't afford rent, or who have disabilities, or there's something that the system isn't supporting, and we have a lot of folks that end up on the streets. And if you're on the streets for your first time, and the longer you're homeless, the harder it is to get out. And so that's what really prompted me and a lot of my friends to start Mustard Seed Project. And when I think about the theme of Mustard Seed Project, it's really rise up. We're all students from different backgrounds, different majors. Some people want to be lawyers. Some people want to be artists. Some people want to go into social work. There's actually a lot of folks here who do want to do that. But in general, all of us are very different, come from different backgrounds. But at the end of the day, what we are is young people that are trying to make a difference, trying to make a difference in our communities. And throughout the last 5 years, what we've really tried to do was just push what we can do, whether it was starting on homeless outreach, to making a service navigation program, to setting up a reading program at a family shelter. A lot of what we've been doing is just about rising to the occasion. And throughout the last 5 years, I can think of a lot of people in this project specifically that are examples of just that. For example, Ringo and Needy were our research chairs at UCSD, and for an entire year, every single week, they went out to the streets, not just to provide basic needs for folks that we met, but also to be examples of how we should do homeless outreach, how we can show compassion to folks that are experiencing homelessness. Another good one is Canwin, who's in this call. I met Canwin at one of our very first info nights at UCSD, and he quickly became a leader in our project. So he started on our board as internal chair. So if you see him here, there's a really good candid shot of him. And he's like talking about the bonfire. But Canwin is a lot of behind the scenes. So this is a picture that was really good. That was a really shot really well. And it's a picture of him welcoming a member into the project. And that's something we all try to do. We always say, try to be as welcoming as you can. And this is Canwin just doing just that. Look at that smile. I love Mustard Seed. And so from internal chair, Canwin's now the chapter president at Mustard Seed Project at UCSD. A leader, someone who shows a lot of growth. And in my talks with Canwin, it's obvious that he's really invested in, helping new members grow, and really invested in introducing people into this issue, because, we're all trying to fight the same mission. And there's a ton of people to talk about, but I also have to give a really good shout out to Hannah and Erica. They started first as an outreach team. So weekly they would make quesadillas and sandwiches before going out to the streets. And really what grew from this team was really something magical, because from our very first meeting, what we're doing was we're talking about care packages and fundraising for relief that we can give out to the streets. But for the last 2 years, we've really been able to meet and talk about not just what a care package look like, but how we can make a system that helps students serve their community more efficiently. And as everyone knows, we work with clients, so it's talking about how can we work with a client, how can we do a better job. It involves spending hundreds of hours talking about the issue of homelessness, and also being brutally honest with what is it we're able to do and how much we're willing to push ourselves. So this is a team that's really grown, and there's a lot of people in our project that have shown so much dedication, from Trisha making the community really fun video, all the way to Isha, who fought tooth and nail to keep the reading program at UC Riverside alive by not just contacting the administrators, but it can be very difficult, for anyone who does any kind of like community outreach, that can be very difficult, but also making a curriculum and coordinating volunteers to really keep that program alive. And that's really a lot. That grassroots efforts are really what keep this entire project alive. And so we all do this by one mission. This is a mission we all know really well. Mustard Seed Project's mission, guided by hand up, not handout philosophy, connects individuals who are unsheltered and low income to services and programs through grassroots organization, relationship-based outreach, and volunteer case management. And this is a mission that everyone knows does not happen in one day. In fact, this mission is a journey, and it always starts at tabling, where we go on campus and we set up a booth, we have a poster board, and we give out flyers. And everyone who does this knows that, it definitely is a lot of work. And then we host info nights where anyone who's willing to listen, we talk about homelessness, we share our experiences that are happening in Mustard Seed Project, and really we display our passion for this issue. And we do all of that throughout the last 5 years, and we've established chapters at UC Riverside, San Diego State University, and UCSD. All with the hopes that we can give back to our community in any way possible. And really, throughout this time, we've been able to really connect with individuals, whether that's, I know who's a project favorite, Tommy. So in this picture, we were able to help subsidize that car in the back. And then in this moment, he was very excited and wanted to take a photo with his car and with some people, members in the project. Or helping a friend of the project get access to a laptop, and helping just, doing what we can and paying for educational classes so this person can reach his goals. And in some cases, it's helping folks transition out of homelessness, helping folks just feel a sense of community, some kind of sense of normalcy after recovering from a lot of the trauma that people experience being on the streets. And so as we move forward to continue this mission, it's also important for us to think about the vision we have for our project and what it is, the world that we want, that we envision with this project. And that's something our leadership team has been doing a lot for the past few weeks. And so we created this vision statement for all of us. And so at Mustard Seed Project, we strive for a world in which all individuals have the right to basic needs, comfort in their personal safety, and opportunity to rise above their situation. And we believe that there are 5 values that will help ground us all to this vision. And it starts first with respect. We put compassion and human dignity first, no matter race, culture, circumstance, and background. Community. We emphasize an environment of trust and rapport with those we serve, as well amongst our student volunteers. Something that's been important to us since the beginning is access. We commit to providing low barrier and person-centered services that are both of quality and evidence-based. Excellence. We strive for tangible and long-lasting positive change for all individuals that we serve. And last, and very importantly, something that is important to keeping our project alive is accountability. We hold ourselves at the highest standards in our services to help those vulnerable reach their full potential. And to kind of help us do this, here are some goals for all of us. So this is something that we should all be focusing on this year. But the first one is to expand our numbers through the successful recruitment, education, and training of dedicated members passionate about serving their community. So SDAC has already done part of this, and it was able to get 17 applicants, which is really awesome. And I'm looking forward to seeing what UCR and UCS do in the next few weeks, but it's really important for us to recruit as many people as we can so that we can expand our services. Fundraise for the Community Relief Fund to assist members of the community with rental assistance and basic needs. In the past, this was called the VCM Fund, and this has been a way for us to get quick cash into the hands of folks who need it. So it's either helping people avoid an eviction or helping folks, we've even helped a family just get food for a month, or just get anyone access to basic needs if they need it. Implement our community advocacy structure to create well-trained volunteers to execute high-quality service to the community. So this is something we'll talk about ongoing in the conference, but we developed this in the summer to better have a better structure to how we train volunteers and have volunteers step up to become either on the board or service navigators. Expand our person-centered service navigation program to reach a wider audience of clients. And last, expand our Mustard Seed Project mission by creating partnerships, coalition, and university chapters. So these are all goals that I hope that we're going to be able to accomplish in the next few months. And so the last thing I want to leave y'all is just with some closing words. If I'm going to be honest with everyone, I wasn't really sure if Mustard Seed Project was going to continue throughout this global pandemic. I remember when it was first starting, I called Cecily when she was the chapter president, and I told her, we discussed, you know what, honestly, just kind of don't think about Mustard Seed Project right now. Take care of what you need to take care of. And literally the next day, the entire school was evacuated. And even within this project, sometimes it feels like it doesn't take much if we're complacent for our services to end. But with that being said, with the dedication of many members in this team and really what we put forth, I see that the way we're going to do it, we're going to have to do it, is together. This project is really strong because of all the volunteers that have come past and present to show their dedication and passion for this issue. And my hope is that when I'm an old man and I have gray hair, that I'll be able to think on this time and think about the challenges our communities face and know that Mustard Seed Project was able to be there to help folks in our community and rise to the challenges that we faced. The very last thing I want to say is that, again, this is a hard year for a lot of people. So please do take care of yourself. Reach out for help if that's something you need. I have a lot, for me personally, I don't know how everyone else is going, but I have a lot of colleagues, a lot of friends that this is really tough on them. So please take care of yourself, take care of each other. And everything we do, try to find some kind of joy in what we do and have fun in everything we do. So please, let's all take care of ourselves. And if there's anything anyone needs, please feel free to reach out to me. But other than that, thank you folks for listening, and I look forward to the rest of the conference.